What good is a gun if you can't run it? If racking the slide feels like wrestling a rusted lawnmower or firing 2 rounds sends a bolt of pain up your arthritic wrist, then it doesn't matter how tactical your ammo is, you're not winning that fight. This isn't about who can carry the biggest boomstick or who has the fanciest optic. This is about what works when your hands are 70, but your instincts are still sharp. It's about keeping control, not just pulling the trigger. For seniors or anyone with grip issues, joint pain, or just not looking to get beat up by their own gun, choosing the right low-recoil defense round is everything. Today, I'll walk you through 5 rounds of flat-out work. They're tested, trusted, and yes, senior approved. And no, I'm not talking about pea shooters or pocket fluff. We're counting down from the underrated sleepers to the undisputed champion of senior-friendly firepower. Let's get into it. If 38 Special is the grumpy old sheriff who's been around forever, then 32 H&R Magnum is the younger cousin who shows up quiet, polite, and unexpectedly good with a revolver. Most folks walk right past this cartridge without even tipping their hat, and that's a shame, because it might just be one of the best-kept secrets in low-recoil self-defense. This round was born in the 1980s, back when mullets ruled and revolvers weren't considered retro. What it gives you is the sweet spot between a 22 and a 38 light recoil, surprisingly snappy ballistics, and compatibility with revolvers that don't feel like they were forged from an anvil. For senior shooters who want more oomph than a 22 but don't want to ice their wrist after a range session, the 32 H&R Magnum says, "I got you." Take the Ruger LCR in 327 Federal Magnum. It chambers 32 H&R Magnum like a dream, and even gives you 6 shots instead of the usual 5 and a snub nose. That's not just a bonus. That's a full extra chance to solve your problem without reloading under stress. Combine that with soft pushback recoil and minimal muzzle flip. And what you've got is a defensive option that behaves like a gentleman and hits like a surprise. Now, let's talk numbers. Most defensive loads run 85 to 100 grains and clock in around 1100 to 1200 feet per second. Translation: enough energy to expand properly and penetrate sufficiently, all without turning your palm into beef tartare. Sure, it's not on every shelf. This ain't Walmart ammo. But brands like Hornady Critical Defense and Black Hills JHP make solid carry loads. And if you're willing to look a little harder, you'll be rewarded with a cartridge that shoots smooth and doesn't punish the hand pulling the trigger. The 32 H&R Magnum doesn't shout. It doesn't flex. It just works quietly, confidently, and consistently. And for a senior citizen, that's exactly the kind of partner you want on your hip. There's something unshakably honest about a 38 Special. It doesn't care about modularity or red dot optics or 20-slide serration angles. It just wants to do its job and do it clean. For seniors, that's often exactly what they need: less fluff, more function. The beauty of the 38 Special when loaded in its standard pressure form, not plus P. We're not trying to break bones here, lies in its pure mechanical simplicity. No slides to rack, no magazines to slam in, no safeties to forget. Just grab a revolver, say a Smith & Wesson Model 10 or a Charter Arms undercover, and you're holding something that would have felt just as natural in 1955 as it does today. The recoil manageable. The report loud enough to say, "I mean business," but not so harsh that it rattles dentures. With a decent grip and a steel frame revolver, the felt recoil is more of a polite handshake than a slap across the fingers. This makes it particularly appealing for seniors with wrist issues or arthritis, especially those who just can't stand the snappy snap of semi-autos. Now let's get into the loads. Federal HydroShock Low Recoil 110 grain JHP is a golden choice here. It expands reliably, doesn't overpenetrate, and stays on target without punishing your palm. You're not going to win any ballistic arguments on gun forums with it, but you'll be a lot more likely to make that crucial follow-up shot in real life. And isn't that the point? And don't let anyone talk you out of revolvers by calling them old-fashioned. That's like saying coffee is outdated because energy drinks exist. Sometimes the old stuff just works better, especially when you want to trust your life to it. The 38 Special might not be glamorous, but in the hands of someone who values control over coolness, it becomes a quietly lethal classic. For senior shooters, it's the firearm equivalent of a favorite walking stick: dependable, familiar, and always ready to support you when things go sideways. Here's a paradox for you. The 9mm is both too much and just right, depending entirely on how you serve it. In its plus P 115 grain muzzle-blazing form, it's like handing a jackhammer to someone with a tennis elbow. But Tone it down, feed it subsonic 147 grain loads, and put it in a pistol with a little weight behind it. Suddenly you're dealing with a smooth, controllable workhorse that even a senior shooter can ride with confidence. Let's start with the hardware. The Glock 19, the Glock 48, or the ever-popular S&W Shield EZ 9mm. These aren't pocket rockets. They have enough real estate to soak up recoil, enough slide mass to tame the snap, and enough grip texture to keep the gun from jumping out of arthritic hands. That's not an exaggeration. Grip texture isn't just for show when your fingers aren't what they used to be. Now pair that with the right ammo. Federal HST 147 grain, Horn 80 Critical Defense Light. These are rounds engineered not to throw temper tantrums when you press the trigger. Instead, they push, smooth, steady, and direct. And the added benefit subsonic ammo, like, this is not just easier on your joints, it's easier on your ears, especially if you're not running suppressors or fancy range headphones. Let's not forget capacity. In a world where most defensive scenarios end in under 4 rounds, fired carrying 15+1 still gives you room to breathe. And follow-up shots. With reduced recoil loads, you're not chasing the sights, they're right where you left them. A lot of older shooters shy away from 9mm because of what it used to be, snappy sharp, and just plain uncomfortable. But today's guns and ammo combinations have rewritten that story. In the right configuration, 9mm goes from too much gun to just enough grit. If you've written off 9mm before, give it another shot, literally. You might be surprised how well this king behaves when he's dressed for dinner, not for war. The 380 ACP isn't a compromise, it's a solution. And don't let the internet tough guys tell you otherwise. For millions of people, especially seniors, and folks with limited grip strength, this caliber is the sweet spot between easy to shoot and worth shooting. Let's talk comfort. Slide resistance matters when your hands aren't what they used to be. Pistols like the Smith & Wesson Shield EZ or Ruger Security 380 were practically built with arthritis in mind. Slide pull is soft and clean, like opening a stick of butter, not fighting a rusty gate. The trigger is manageable, the grip is friendly, and the recoil is low enough that you won't feel like you just took a jab from a featherweight boxer. Ballistically, the 380 has come a long way since its backup gun days. Thanks to loads like Horn 80 Critical Defense 1980 GER or Federal HST. Micro, you're looking at real expansion, real penetration, and real stopping power, provided you do your part and place the shot. Is it going to blast through car doors or body armor? No. Is it going to stop a home intruder at 7 feet? Absolutely. Another plus form factor. Many 380 pistols are compact enough to carry discreetly without printing, but not so small that they become unmanageable. This makes them perfect for older users who want something concealable without sacrificing control. The Walther CCP M2 is another honorable mention here, a soft shooter with ergonomics that feel like they were designed by a hand therapist. And the recoil, it's soft, more of a bounce than a snap. Less bark, more purr. Seniors report shooting 380 as the caliber that finally made range days enjoyable again, not a test of endurance. So, no, it's not the biggest. It's not the flashiest. But it does something few calibers can do. Well, make self-defense practical, painless, and possible, especially when your fingers don't move like they used to. Say it out loud, 22LR is the best self-defense round for seniors, and watch half the internet roll their eyes so hard they sprain a retina. But here's the thing, what most folks mock smart shooters master. And for seniors, 22LR isn't just viable. In the right setup, it's brilliant. We're talking next to zero recoil. Shooting a well-tuned 22 feels more like a polite suggestion than a bang. That matters when your wrists are stiff, your joints talk back, and your goal is control, not chest-thumping power. Recoil control translates into tighter groups, faster follow-ups, and a higher likelihood of hitting something that matters when things go sideways. Usability is where the 22 really shines. Pistols, like the Ruger SR22 Taurus TX22 Compact or the Smith & Wesson M&P 22 Compact offer light slides, intuitive controls, and ergonomic grips that don't demand the finger strength of a rock climber. If you've got arthritis tendinitis or just plain old hands that have seen better decades, this is the gun that doesn't fight back. Now let's talk ammo. The 22 used to be pigeonholed as a squirrel cartridge and little more. Not anymore. Loads like Federal Punch CCI Velociter and Winchester 37GR JHP are designed with personal defense in mind, deeper penetration, reliable expansion, and much better consistency than the old bulk stuff. You wouldn't want to take a hit from one, neither would anyone else. And here's what makes it all click. Seniors are far more likely to actually train with a 22. Not just plink, but build real confidence. Why? Because it's fun, because it doesn't hurt, because it doesn't drain your wallet. And that practice, that comfort, is what turns a quiet little rimfire into a real-world equalizer. When you put it all together, recoil, ease of use, shootability, and modern defensive loads, the 22 LR isn't just a decent option. For many seniors, it's the most logical one. There's no shame in wanting a gun that doesn't bite the hand that feeds it. For senior citizens, especially, choosing the right low-recoil round isn't just smart, it's essential. Because when your hands don't move like they used to, control matters more than caliber, and confidence matters more than cool factor. Every round we covered today works not in theory, but in the hands of real people with real limitations. Whether it's the whisper quiet control of a 22 LR or the solid balance of a 380, these are senior-approved choices that won't leave you second-guessing when it counts. If you've got a favorite low-recoil defense round that works for you or someone you care for, drop it in the comments. And if this video helped you think differently about what stopping power really means, give it a like and share. Stay sharp, stay safe, and I'll see you at the next one.